to Accounting Standard 9, Revenue Recognition. See dear students, this standard AS 9, Revenue Recognition, is with respect to timing. At what point of time should we say this is our revenue? Because there are series of events which happen in any transaction of sale of goods, rendering of services. So, during that series of events, at what point should we consider this as revenue? Like I have sold goods to somebody who is in Australia. So, do you think today I get the order and immediately it is sold and that person receives it and he gives me money today itself? It is over a period of time, maybe 6 months, 7 months. He gives me order, I dispatch the goods are loaded on the ship, the captain gives the bill of lading and the ship flows, reaches Australia, then the person unloads it. See, so my point comes, at what point of time should I say this is a revenue within those period of 6 months? This is the main focus of this standard, timing, revenue recognition. Friends, here first thing which was very important for us was definition, then revenue from sale of goods. Definition, what is revenue? So, if you remember, revenue was nothing but gross inflow. Something should come inside. Gross inflow of cash, receivables, other consideration arising mainly from sale of goods. It means does not include discount and all those things. Discount received, rebate or a cessation of liability. This is not to be included in my revenue. Revenue is gross inflow of cash, receivables, other consideration arising mainly from sale of goods, rendering of services and used by others the resources of the entity. Then comes, when should I recognize revenue from sale of goods? Friends, if you remember, when substantial risk and rewards are transferred. See, ownership may or may not have been transferred. Possessionship may or may not have been transferred. We are not supposed to focus on who is having the title, who is having the physical possession. That is one of the consideration. But end we have to look at whether the risk and rewards have been transferred. Who bears the risk and reward with respect to these goods? Substantial risk and rewards are transferred. And of course, no uncertainty as to measurability and collectibility. If when we fulfill these conditions, we say yes sir, recognize revenue from sale of goods. Risk and reward should be transferred. Possession may or may not have transferred. Title may or may not have transferred. Then comes revenue from rendering of services. When should you recognize revenue from rendering of services, friends? Number 1, performance is accomplished. The act of performance should have happened. Just by collecting the money, you cannot say revenue is there. I took money from you which is non-refundable. Say this is money is also, the amount which you pay is non-refundable. Then also I should not recognize revenue because the act, the performance has to be there of rendering services. Performance should be there. Performance is accomplished and of course no uncertainty as to measurability and collectibility, then we should recognize revenue from rendering of services. Of course, for recognizing revenue from rendering of services, there are methods for recognizing revenue. If you are recognizing revenue from rendering of services, which are the methods, friends? I hope you remember. Completed service method. What does it mean? It means that I will recognize revenue when the services are over. Proportionate completion method means I will recognize the revenue over a period of time. When will I go with completed service method? Sir, when the performance is in a single act, means I am rendering services which is a single act of service, then it will be completed service method. When will I go with proportionate completion method? Sir, when we render services in multiple acts. If you remember, I had given you an example at JKC, students prefer combo offer, 11th standard, 12th standard and foundation, all three together they take admission in our Mumbai. So, when the student is taking admission for 11th, 12th and CA foundation, don't you think I will be providing services over a period of 3 financial years? And the act will be a significant act, first 11th, then 12th, then foundation. So, significant act of service. So, when one significant act of services is over, I should recognize revenue proportionately. Like 11th standard is over, portion of 11th standard exams, everything is over, I will recognize revenue with respect to my 11th standard and so on. And the last area of our discussion was revenue from use by others resources of the entity. Somebody else is using my resource. So, in that the standard has given a bifurcation. Interest. How should we recognize interest? Sir, time proportionate basis. Royalties, of course on accrual basis or on based on agreement. Third was dividend, which is very important, you should remember for the exam, and you should use this language only. Dividend are to be recognized when the right to receive dividend is established. When the right to receive dividend is established, friends, that is the day on which you should recognize dividend. Of course, on the date of declaration in case of final dividend. That is the day on which you get the right. Like final dividend, how it happens? First it is proposed, then it is declared, and thereafterwards we receive the payment. So, when the final dividend gets declared, that is the day we should recognize dividend. Now, if payment is to be received in foreign currency and this requires forex permission, I need to take approval from the foreign governments or the foreign banks, in sense central bank of that particular country, then in that case I will always recognize revenue on cash basis. When I receive money at that point of time, I will recognize revenue. Okay friends, a very small standard. I did a very quick fast revision. Yeah, so we'll just have a glance through our notes. You have your textbook, timing of recognition, revenue is gross inflow. Okay, and this is common. You should never have uncertainty as to measurability and you should never have uncertainty as to collectibility. Then we will not recognize. If consideration is not measurable, then we will not recognize, we will postpone. If collectibility is uncertain, sir, today I think he will not be in a position to pay. This is what I think. So, I do not recognize the revenue. Even though I have provided services, even though I have sold goods, I do not recognize the revenue. When do I recognize? When that uncertainty is over. That is the day I recognize the revenue. Now, my dear students, when I say the day the uncertainty is over, I recognize revenue, then it will be considered as revenue of the period in which uncertainty goes. Say in 1920 uncertainty is there. uncertainty goes away in 2021, then it will be recognized as a revenue for 2021. Yeah. And of course, it arises later, then it will be considered as provision, means we have to provide for it. I already recognize revenue and then uncertainty arose, create provision. So that is not that big. Sale of goods, significant risk and rewards have been transferred. Rendering of services, completed service method or proportionate completion method. Interest, time proportionate, royalties, we have to go always on accrual or based on the agreement, and dividends recognized only when the owner's right to receive the payment is established. Okay friends, now classwork question number 1 to question number 6, if you look properly, they have been done in the class as well as the answers are also there and they are discussed in the classroom. So what I would suggest is, why not look at some homework section questions which are really good for understanding purpose. See, question number 1 of homework is as good as question number 1 of classwork, but question number 2 of homework is with respect to print advertisements and all those things. Sarita publication, question number 2 of homework section, publishes monthly magazine on 15th of every month. It sells the advertising space in the magazine to the advertisers on the terms of 80% sale value payable in advance and balance within 30 days of release of publication. The sale of space for March 2014 issue was made in February 2014. The magazine was published to be scheduled date. It received rupees 2,40,000 on 10th March and 60,000 on 10th April for March 2014 issue. Discuss in context with AS9 the amount of revenue to be recognized and the treatment of amount received from advertisement for the year ending on 31st March. What would be the treatment if the publication is delayed till 2nd April 2014? Friends, I would like you to read this question once and then we can discuss. Pause the video. Okay, now Sarita publication is publishing it on 15th of every month. They are selling its advertisement space in the magazine to advertiser on the sum that 80% is to be payable in advance and balance within 30 days from the release of publication. The sale of space means, you know, the advertisement space is there in the magazine. The sale of space for March 14 issue was made in February 14. So in February we sold some space and we have received how much? 2,40,000 out of total 3 lakhs. 3 lakh 80% is 240, and this is received on 10th March and 60,000 is received on 10th of April. When should I recognize revenue? The day the magazine is published. That is the day. See, it is not to do or nothing to do with respect to when did you receive the money. I may receive money on 10th of April, it's okay, unless there is no uncertainty as to collectibility. If there is no uncertainty, I will recognize the revenue when the magazine gets published. That is 15th March. That is nothing but I will be recognizing revenue for financial year 13-14. It is published on 15th March, so revenue will be recognized on 15th March, so it becomes revenue for 13-14. But the question says, what if the publication is delayed till 2nd April? So if publication is delayed, then I will recognize revenue only when the publication is published, that is 2nd of April. So in that case, my revenue will be for 14-15. Yeah, so that will be for 14-15, the whole 300,000, 3 lakhs. You may just have a glance through this, my dear students. A beautiful question with respect to when should revenue from sale of advertisement space from a magazine publication be recognized? When the publication is published. Performance should happen, yes. Let me do one more question from here. Question number 3. Given below is the information of Messrs Paper Products Limited. Goods of 60,000 were sold on 20th March, but at the request of buyer, these were delivered on 10th of April. Don't you think we will recognize the revenue on 20th of March, that is 60,000. When the delivery is delayed at the buyer's request, revenue is recognized. 15.1, goods of 150 were sent on consignment basis, of which 20% of the goods were unsold, lying with the consignee. So can I say 1,20,000 will be recognized as my revenue? 120 worth of goods were sold on approval basis on 1/12/14. The period of approval is 3 months. So 12, December, January, February, approval period is over. After which they are considered as sold. Buyer has sent approval for 75% of goods on 31st of Jan 2015, but no approval or disapproval is received for the remaining goods. Can I say the whole amount will be considered as approval? The whole amount 120 will be considered as approved. Apart from above, the company has made a cash sales of 780 gross. Trade discount of 5% was allowed on cash sales. You are giving a trade discount of 5% on cash sales. How much did you receive? Yeah, gross inflow. The inflow is not 780. After deducting that 5%, what you receive is your inflow. So, first case, sale is complete but delivery is postponed. So, you should recognize revenue of 60,000. Second, 20% is lying unsold. We should recognize revenue of 120. Okay. Here the whole 1,20,000 should be recognized as revenue because the period of approval has expired. Of course, you have to write theory. Here I am just discussing because we are revising the whole topic. Don't think you can just write this much. You have to, I hope you remember, I spoke in the earlier lectures also. Theoretical questions, 3 parts. First, concept discussion. What are the facts of the case, and the last is nothing but concluding remarks. Trade discount should be deducted in determining revenue. Thus, 39,000 should be deducted from amount of turnover of 7,80,000 for the purpose of recognizing revenue. So, here they have just given us total revenue. Now, see, some of the questions are very much repetitive, like question number 2 is dividend should be recognized. The same type of classwork question we had. Yes, question number 4. Manufacturing company has following stages of production and sale in manufacturing fine paper rolls. Raw material, it becomes WIP on 20th of January. 27th January, it is rough and thick paper. Then it is made fine paper rolls. 20th of February, it is ready for sale. 15th March, sale agreed and invoice raised, delivered and paid for. Explain the stage on which you think revenue should be recognized. When should revenue be recognized? Can I say when the sale is agreed and invoice raised? That is the date on which significant risk and rewards are getting transferred. Of course, here we should write down. Okay, one more question. Again, this is repetition. Then again, question number 9, a repetition. Yeah, the last question. Question number 10 from past paper. Indicate in each case whether revenue can be recognized and when it will be recognized as per AS9. Trade discount and volume rebate received. Friends, this is not revenue. Trade discount and volume rebate received, it is not revenue only because it does not fit in the definition of revenue. What is revenue? Gross inflow of cash, receivables and other consideration arising mainly from sale of goods, rendering of services and used by others, the resources of the entity. Where goods are sold to distributors or others for resale. See, when you are selling to distributors, wherein the distributors are having that right that if they are not able to sell, I have to take it back, then I will not recognize the revenue unless or until the distributor sells to the third party. But in some case it happens that I sell to the distributor, risk and reward is transferred, it's over. I don't have to take it back if he is not able to sell the goods, then it is sale. When the goods are sold to distributor or others, the revenue from such sales can be generally recognized if significant risk or ownership have been passed. Some situation the buyer may in substance be an agent, and in such cases it will be treated as consignment sales. In sense, when the distributor sells the goods to the third party, I should recognize revenue. Seller concurrently agrees to repurchase the same goods at a later date. What happens in this? I sell goods to you today and then I say the same goods will be bought back by me after this much period at some price. Friend, this is nothing but a finance transaction. This is not a sale transaction. This is finance transaction. I am selling the goods to you today and from you the same goods I will buy it again after some period of time, obviously at higher price. Then this is not a sale transaction. This is a finance transaction and this finance transaction will not be captured as revenue. Yeah, it is as good as I have taken a loan and used goods as my security. Insurance agency commission for rendering services. See, in case of insurance agency commission, when should I recognize revenue? When the person pays the premium. In case of renewal commission. If it is first commission, when the policy is issued by the insurance company. First commission means I just gave a proposal, you signed and then I gave it to the insurance company, they accepted the proposal. So that is the day. They accept the proposal and issue the policy. That is the day I will recognize my first commission. Renewal commission as in when the client pays the renewal commission, so not renewal commission, renewal premium to the insurance company. That is the day I will recognize revenue. On 11th March 2019, cloths worth rupees 50,000 were sold to X Mart, but due to refurbishing of their showroom being underway on their request, clothes were delivered on 12th April. Can I say I will recognize the revenue on 11th March only because delivery is delayed at the buyer's request. And friends, when delivery is delayed at the buyer's request, we should always go for recognizing revenue, provided there is no uncertainty as to measurability and collectibility. Yeah, friends, these are the answers. You may just have a glance through those answers. Should not be recognized as revenue. Okay, friends, so this is my end of AS9. Yeah, only 3 things: goods sold, services rendered, and used by others, the resource of the entity. At what point of time should be recognized revenue? So, thank you very much for watching. Let's meet in the next accounting standard. Thank you.